But for most players, by the time they arrive, the ball is already at this low point, and the chance to drive it is gone. This is why our loops fail. Today, let's talk about the key points of rhythm. Let me ask you, do you often feel like your timing is off when you play? Either you're hitting too early, or you're getting jammed. First, you must understand that hitting at the peak of the bounce means to start your swing at the peak, not to make contact with the ball at the peak. If you make contact at the peak, since your backswing is here and the ball is here, your swing has to travel forward. So your contact point can't be at your backswing position. Therefore, contacting the ball at its peak is actually rushing the shot. If it's a backspin ball, for example, we should wait for it to start dropping before we initiate the swing. If you make contact with the ball as it's falling, you actually started your swing earlier. If you make contact at the peak, you're essentially hitting on the rise. So first, you must understand this concept of rhythm. Because the ball's travel time after the bounce is extremely short. So, be clear, you are either swinging at the peak, as it starts to fall, or on the rise. This concept is the same for both topspin and backspin. Second key point, when and how to swing. The answer is to swing towards the bounce point. What does this mean? For instance, the ball bounces here. But your current mistake is swinging like this. That's not swinging towards the bounce point. One swing path is upwards. The other is sideways. Because most amateur players, when facing backspin, instinctively just lift up or swing sideways. So let's be clear, what does swinging towards the bounce point mean? After bouncing, the ball moves toward you. A backspin ball moves back first, then down, it never drops vertically. A topspin ball kicks forward towards you. So, regardless of your backswing, your swing path must follow the ball's trajectory. For example, if a topspin ball comes this way, then I swing this way. If a backspin ball comes this way after the bounce, then I swing this way. You must swing along the ball's trajectory from its bounce point. That's how you properly synchronize your power with the ball. If you can synchronize your power, the shot becomes very simple. If you can't, your shot against backspin will go into the net. Let me demonstrate. Watch this ball. Did I synchronize my power correctly? Why didn't I synchronize my power? Listen, table tennis is about 3 arcs. Understand them and you'll be fine. A pressing arc, a flat arc, and a looping arc. When a backspin ball comes over, its trajectory after the bounce is like this. So as it travels, by the time your feet and body arrive, your center of gravity is already late, isn't it? If the ball's trajectory is this way, your swing path must be this way. If the ball's path is this way and your swing is that way, you won't meet the force correctly, and you'll hit the net. This is where amateurs tend to be weaker, handling backspin. Against topspin, you just hit forward. See, this swing path is wrong. The ball is dropping, so I should swing forward and upward. If your brushing force doesn't overcome the backspin, you'll hit the net. As it drops, if I match my swing to its trajectory, I can sync up with the ball's power. I don't need much brushing, the ball will lift over the net. This is the most efficient swing path. If you're behind the dropping ball and only swing forward, your spin must overpower its spin. That requires exceptional hand skill to lift the ball. Intercept the ball. To intercept it as it drops, I must come from below and go up. I call this interception. Then I send it back with a matching arc. The shot becomes simple. This is also why you often miss the ball completely when looping backspin. You have to drive into the ball as you brush it to give it forward momentum. If you just brush up or forward without driving into it, like with this kind of wrist action, the ball will hit the net. Only by driving into the ball while brushing will it clear the net with enough height. If you don't drive into it, you'll create a brief loop, but the ball will immediately dive into the net. But if you drive forward, the ball will only start to drop after it crosses the net. Why does the ball slip when you brush it? Because your swing path is wrong. You have to drive into the ball to brush. Watch, backswing, drive. People always debate, brush then hit or hit then brush. It happens simultaneously. The moment of contact involves impact. But in that instant, the choice is, do I just hit straight through it? Or do my fingers add a final snap to drive forward and brush? That's simply my choice. Watch my backhand closely. I'm always driving forward. That's what makes my backhand effective. If I don't drive into the ball while brushing it, I won't be able to lift a heavy backspin shot. Watch this action carefully. Am I contacting the ball above the table or below the table? At the moment of contact, my racket is actually above the table. So what kind of loop is this? A loop drive. I just looped a backspin ball. Now, what about a high, spinny loop? The contact point for the loop drive is here, see? The contact point for the high spinny loop is here. It should be roughly level with the table surface, not completely below it. Why is this important? Because amateurs have slow anticipation and footwork. So you get to the ball when it's already at this point. And you still try to drive it. When you move to your forehand, by the time the ball is at table height, it's already too late to hit a loop drive. At this high point, you can drive it. At this lower point, you can't. And if it drops even more, you certainly can't. But for most players, by the time they arrive, the ball is already at this low point. And the chance to drive it is gone. This is why our loops fail. When pulled wide by a heavy spin ball, you must loop. Prioritize spin over speed, which means more brushing time and less acceleration. Now, if they return my serve with a slightly high, slow ball and I'm in position, then I can go for the loop drive. Only when you're contacting the ball above the table should you attempt a loop drive. Your success rate will then improve. If contact is at or below table height, you absolutely cannot drive it or force the power. Now for topspin, how do you hit with power without going long? See, you stand here. The ball comes back, I need to intercept the arc. I need to keep my hand a bit higher. To hit from here, I need to be even higher. Now that I've moved back, I can drop my hand a little lower. Ball's up, racket's up. Now it's short. The closer you are, the flatter your swing needs to be. Against topspin, the further back you are, the more you need a looping trajectory. Once you understand how to intercept the arc, table tennis becomes much simpler. When you're close, the ball's arc hasn't dropped, it's just coming back. So I must swing from back to front. If I'm close and the ball is coming back, but I swing up, it will definitely go long. This isn't about closing your racket angle. The problem is the arc of your swing, which creates a bad shot. So when you're close and the arc isn't dropping, I just hit from back to front. If it's a short, high ball, I have to hit down on it slightly. Back at mid-distance, the arc is lower. By the time you contact it, the ball is dropping, so I must create an upward swing path. It drops, so I must go up. If you move back and still swing flat, you'll hit the net because the ball has already dropped. If its arc is downward, your arc must be upward. If its arc is flat, you hit with a flat arc. Against topspin, the closer you are, the higher your racket, and the flatter your swing. The further back you are, the lower your racket, and the more you need a looping arc in your swing.